Hello, US 101 late start class. Um, I hope you're all hanging in there, keeping up. Um, those of you who are keeping up, you should really congratulate yourselves. It takes a lot to keep up, that pace. If you're getting behind, I want to remind you to please reach out to me. I'm want to help all of you, and the quicker we do it before you get too far behind, the better. So just please keep that in mind. Um, I promise you, I'm here to actually help every student. I'm not going to give you a lecture on something and make you feel like some authoritarian father figure. Like you have not been blah blah. No, just I want to help you out. So keep that in mind. Okay. Having said that, let's take a look at where we've been so far. And wow, we already have an exam, but don't worry, you don't have that much. Uh, I'm not going to give a lot of exams, and we don't have pop quizzes. You'll notice that it's a take-home exam. It's actually just like your normal essay uh, essays that you do, but you just have to do a little extra. Okay, so same rules apply. Citations within, after every direct quote and paraphrase. No compromise on that. In parentheses, I look first thing. Did you do that? Yeah. Are these all just sources that we used and covered? Does the citations tell me exactly where I need to go and I could find this information easy? And then are there dates? Okay. And then I get to read your essay and see what your thoughts are. And so and so basically, if you're getting down this Sunday, which I usually have done, been doing for the essays, you're going to be fine on the exam. If you're struggling with the essays, you're going to have the same problems. And again, please reach out to me. Okay. So, what we've covered. Well, this was a great section that I like to cover, which is Shays Rebellion, the Whiskey Rebellion, and that juxtaposed to the topic of the Second Amendment. And I feel like with this class, I saw more students than ever connecting the dots that I've been trying so hard always when I cover this for everyone to get to, which is what is the Second Amendment really about in context to the language that's actually used there, the Federalist Papers, and then the history which we take with Shays Rebellion prior to the Second Amendment, and then the Whiskey Rebellion, which is going to be something that the U.S. government handles with regulated militias after the Second Amendment and the Constitution is put together. And so, and also something to keep in mind, right, is that oh my gosh, the Army Reserve, is an extension of the Second Amendment as well. So you have so many people who talk and assume that the Second Amendment gives you the individual rights and that we have this to protect us from the tyranny of our own government. But I think the history shows a different story. At the very least, it complicates that and doesn't make that argument. It requires that argument find more of an arsenal, if you will, of arguments within history and that language to make that case. And there's definitely folks that are smarter than me who have attempted to make a case of a different opinion on this. So I'm just throwing that out there. But I think this really helps you all understand why history is so important, and that when we get on these political hot button topics, that a lot of people kind of just say these things without really thinking through them, and it helps. I went to an event with a friend. It was a very, actually, my cousin's. That was a very pro Second Amendment and pro a lot of things event. And I raised my hand and asked about how that fit in context to Shays Rebellion. And I was surprised that this person who was been on TV shows and stuff like that really just admitted they never thought about it. Uh, um, and that they honestly admitted that it was a complicated question and that they needed to think about it. So I was like, okay, well, so is this not been really thought about that much for people who are passionately always talking about this topic? Well, okay, so anyhow, just to be clear, uh, um, I'm not an anti-gun guy. I'm not a pro-gun and I'm not anti-gun. I've owned them in the past, and and I don't know. It's not like an agenda on my part. I just think that I'm into accurate history, and I want to see that um, articulated better in discourse, public discourse. Okay, so now we're also moving into Jefferson and all of these characters. Now, look, I just want to remind everyone, Zen. Some of the topics I'm picking controversial, but look, it's also helping you all. I see that you're engaging with grappling with standard narratives and a different way to look at U.S. history. And for me, I ended up loving U.S. history more as I got to understand that it wasn't boring and that it wasn't something that you just it's there's a wide range of perspectives on all of this, and so I hope that that's something that's happening for all of you. Um, I hope if you might have seen in the comments that I did for the discussion. Also, I taught at MJC U.S. history with a master's degree, and I did Asia and the Islamic world as a focus, which covers quite a bit of territories. North Africa wasn't my strongest, but I did not know that Morocco was the first country to um, acknowledge the United States as an independent nation. They were the longest diplomatic relationship that with another state the United States has is with Morocco. So counterintuitive, never talked about. When I first read about it in a scholarly work, I double checked to make sure that this was not a mistake or even debatable. Oh no, it's not debatable, right? It's documented very well. So the history is always surprising you with something, and there's always something to learn, and it's always strange to me, like what it gets highlighted and what somehow just like how come that's not in the standard high school textbook mentioned all the time? Why is Shays Rebellion just barely mentioned? Very highly important one. Same with Whiskey Rebellion. If we're going to try to think about these topics, you see where I'm going with this? Okay. Last thing I'm going to say. I posted a video on my thoughts about the development of the war that's taking place in Iran. The video messed up a lot. I took it down. I also was saying a lot of things that might be jarring to some people. And then I posted a short history of things to highlight from my perspective. And again, I just want to say that I'm aware that when it comes to the topics of war and conflicts, they're very sensitive topics. I realize this. I have a lot of Iranian friends and many that are former students, and some of you probably are my students. And one thing that I've learned in this is that strong opinions about what is taking place right now is all over the place. And some people I know that are expats from Iran don't even want to hear anything but good things about the Shah, the former ruler before the Islamic Republic took place, and are thinking very positive about the developments of what's happening right now. I have other Iranian American friends and former students who are on the same page with those people, but they don't think that this war and dropping bombs is something that they can agree with. They're anti-war and they're anti-regime. Then I have other students that also were anti-Shah, and um, and I can go through a list of different things. I worked with an Iranian, well, I shouldn't say work with, I went to college with, and I mentioned this, I think, in my last video that I took down. I went to college with an Iranian Jewish woman, sorry, I was at UC Santa Cruz when I was a student. And she was pro-Islamic Republic of Iran in the sense that she worked in the government position, because Jews and Christians do work within the Islamic Republic in some ways and have representation. Very limited, very limited. She'd wear the Star of David on her socks, and she spoke Farsi and Arabic and actually like a lot of languages. And she had a very different take. She was critical of Israel, but she was a proud Jewish Iranian, a Persian Jewish person, as often they refer to themselves as. But then I went to school with other expats that were also the same background as her that had a very different opinion. Uh, um, um, so when I'm going to put out historic information or talk about things there, I'm aware that this is going to be sensitive. But look, I do my research. I look at a lot of these things under these lens, and I see that the mainstream media really does not cover any of these different perspectives. It's a very limited, decontextualized set of discussions going on. So it's a little bothersome to me, to put it lightly, because I think that a lot of folks, that if you're not taking the time to study a lot of this stuff, and understand the broader context of what's going on in the Middle East, you're going to just be misinformed, very much so. If you're ever wanting to engage with me on this conversation in a Zoom office hours, I would be happy to do so. I accept pushback and different opinions. Again, just like our discussions in class, I always hope that we can be civil and agree to disagree if we need to do that. But in any case, I take serious the subject of history, and I think that getting it right is important. I think that being honest where we don't always know certain things is also important, and to be open for evolution, which, if you know me and would know my life, you would see that over time I have evolved and changed my views many times on different things as information comes to light and demands that I reassess certain things. So, okay, having said that, I hope everybody's having a great week and enjoys the information that we're covering, getting to advance your knowledge, and we'll be in touch.